Hey, welcome back, guys, to another episode of this week's drop. It's me, Sidney Smith, here with my brother and co-host, Mr. David Greaves. What's good, bro?
What's good, sir? How are you?
Not much. I screwed that up. I should let you say David.
Yeah,
That's on me. That was on me, people.
It's all right.
But we're going to take it.
You say my name twice.
What's good, man? You all right?
Yes, beautiful week. It's been amazing out here. I wore the shorts to make all you non-Arizona folks jealous. We like 87 today.
It's warm. I woke up today. When I wake up, because I live in the future, I have this thing called Alexa who speaks to me.
Yes.
She tells me because I live in the future.
She was listening yesterday too.
And she tells us the weather in the morning and all that news and shit. And she said 87 today. I said, holy shit.
Yeah. It's supposed to be 90 tomorrow, I think. Something crazy.
It is February, sir.
Yeah. And it's supposed to go back down next week. But for all you people in the snow and the ice,
I know. I will say, yeah, we sound like we're bitching, and some of you out there freezing your asses off back east.
Listen, stay there. Not coming back.
Before we get any further, again, I'm Sidney. This is Dave.
Yes.
This is this week's drop. I'm a professional stand-up comic. I always struggle with saying
firearms instructor.
Thank you, because I don't want to get us knocked off the YouTube.
Yes.
Anyway, so we are here every single week. We talk about this. We talk about that. We try to make it fun. We try to make it informational.
Yes.
And then you guys take it and you run with it as you will. But go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
Please.
Give us all your comments that you want. I've been a little slow the last couple of weeks on replying to people, but I'm going to try to get back on that this week. So reply. We put up the clips. We do all that shit.
Yes.
I'm shooting 2 comedy specials this year. I will be headlining April 27th at Desert Ridge Improv in the Phoenix market. If any of that pertains to you,
come on out. Fly in. Come on.
SidneySmithCreative.com. And my comedy special, which is over 200,000 views right now in less than a year.
Big up that.
Thank you. Is Misunderstood. And that is right here on YouTube. So check that out.
Hilarious.
Too. And applause to my big brother over here who has a sold out class.
Yes. First woman's empowerment class of the new year, basically. All sold out March 1st. We have another one April 4th, I think it is. First Saturday of the month. We have CCW classes. We have whatever you want, whatever type of firearm you want to learn. If you're coming in from out of state, we'll do out of state classes.
Okay. Yeah.
So come on, davismark.com.
Davismark.com. So come on out and get it. All right. As you see, we are 2 grinders and hustlers, which I think makes our first topic rather apropos. Is hustle
big word?
Yeah, you know, everyone so. Is hustle born? Are you born with it? Is it taught? I mean, because you and I were talking while we were making coffee, because this was originally not on the list of topics. I struggle with it in terms of trying to figure out why it seems some people can't have it and some people don't. And sometimes, as you guys know, you may grew up very close to someone, sibling or cousin or someone, and you seem to have it and they don't, or you don't have it and
siblings.
They do.
Siblings. All types of stuff.
Where are you at on it, bud?
We were asking, are you born with it or is it a learned trait? And I think it's a combination of both. And everybody doesn't have it, but I go back to thinking about entrepreneurs. You know, everybody, I want to own my own business. Everybody can't own their own business.
Right.
Some people need to work for people.
Right.
And you just have to figure it out, your passion and your purpose, and figure out which one of the 2 you're in at each moment. And I think some of us are born with passion, you know, where we grind no matter what. Whatever it is, I'm just going to do it until I pass out, and then I'm going to get up and I'm going to do it again. Sometimes it's being around somebody whom pulls out the best in you. Like, I think Kobe is a prime example. If you worked out with Kobe, if you played with Kobe, he was going to try and see if he could pull you across the line with him, and either you made it across the line or you stayed on the other side.
And if you didn't, then and his respect for you was based off that.
Yes.
Which is why I believe it's a Smush Parker clip that's out there where he talked about, he didn't have anything nice to say about Kobe.
No.
And I think he said I was Kobe's teammate for 2 years, and he tried to talk to Kobe, and Kobe told him, you need to do X amount of this, that, and the other before you can even speak to me.
Yeah.
And to Smush's thought was, I'm your teammate. I should be able to. And I remember and I don't put a lot of replies to anything, but all I could think about was, and you still don't get it.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about this after Kobe's dead, and you still don't understand it.
But this is when we talk about the grinder in you, the challenge that you put forth. I'm going to step up to it every time. Mm-hmm. As we say, we're ultra competitive.
Super.
In everything that we do, cards, talking shit. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I think I could say that word on here. But just in whatever we're going to do, we're going to be ultra competitive, which is why I don't live in the hood anymore, because I'm going to be the best hood cat that I can.
Right. Okay.
So now I'm the most friendliest neighbor that I am. I wave at all my neighbors because I'm going to do it above and beyond. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to do it mediocre, because for me, if you're doing it mediocre, stay home.
It is one of those things too, because when you're doing stand up or you're doing anything as an artist, music, so on and so forth, until people start paying you real money that you can survive on, you are doing a day job. A lot of people do it until they don't have to anymore. And then sometimes you stop doing it because you get to a point where I got to commit to this thing. But I remember talking to my mentor about this before, and he and I are the same in a lot of different ways, where it was tough for us in the beginning to have a day gig and do this. Yeah. Because that day gig, I may have walked in saying, I'm just doing this to make some extra money to pay the light bill. But at the end of the day, my inside is like, I need to be the manager of all this shit.
Yes.
And you can't control that.
Yes. Yes. Even with bodyguard work, when I first started doing bodyguard work, it was, this is what I need to be in charge of everybody. But I had to take my lumps and I had to work another job and then do the bodyguard work on the side. Mm-hmm. So, I went to EMT school. I was working as a bodyguard full time, and then driving home, going to class and doing EMT, intermediate, and my head was exploding. But I knew that it was going to put me in a different field because everybody else was just doing basic.
No, and that makes sense. And I want to know from you guys, if you guys are watching or catching this clip when I put it up, are you someone, did you learn how to hustle? Were you born with it? Do you think you can be born or learn it? I tend to think that, I don't think you could teach someone to be a great salesperson. They have to be born with something that you can kind of help it mature along. And I don't know if you can be born with hustle either. I think you have it or you don't.
You mean trained or learned how to hustle?
I don't think you can be taught how to hustle.
Yeah. You can. And hustle and grind is two different things.
Okay.
East Coast, West Coast. Grinding to me is an East Coast thing. We grind. Mm-hmm. We got to do what we got to do. And you can learn how to grind, but
excuse me,
there's different levels to it. Mm-hmm. Like there's a Kobe and then there's everybody else.
Right.
So you either want to be the best or you just want to get along and do something. So when I was in the street, pharmaceutical tech, there was people who hustled enough to get some clothes and go party for the weekend. Right. And then there was others who I want to take over the whole town.
And that was the thing for me. I had some relatives who were pharmaceutical techs, and they was
urban,
urban, yes. Hey, why don't you? Hey, and it was a couple reasons why I always stayed away from it. One, I never, and this has always been my thought process. Even this, and maybe this is another thing where did that come from? But my thing was always, I never wanted to do anything where my mother would have to tell someone her oldest child was in prison, ever. And I thought that way as a kid. And so that was part of it. The other part of it was, and I told them this, I said, no, because what you doing, I wouldn't want to do that. If I was doing it, I want to be the guy. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be the dude out here standing in a triple fat goose in the snow.
And the big dog won't allow you to take, because now you're coming from my spot.
100%.
So,
But that's what I would be willing to do.
Yes.
If I was in that world.
Yes.
And so I never understood. So those are a couple of different reasons, because I could never just stand on a corner.
Yes. A corner boy. Yeah. You're like a crash dummy. When you understand the game, you're a crash dummy.
And that economic situation, that business model is like any other business model.
Yeah.
Which is why I struggle to work a regular job at times in my life, because I see my check and my check is nice. Mm-hmm. But if I'm getting this, what's the dude?
Yeah.
What's he making?
When you understand the math ain't mathing. We laugh about it all the time. As entrepreneurs, we go, when I work for somebody doing something similar, mm-hmm. even when I work for somebody who pays me to do something, mm-hmm. I'm like, well, if you got the money to pay me, Shaq was his famous line was, I'm wealthy, I'm rich, but they're wealthy. Mm-hmm. The owner who can write the check for $7 million or $27 million or $100, if you can write the check, you're wealthy and I'm just rich.
Yeah, it's
something like that. Is that what he said? You remember that?
He said that, yeah, because it's a Chris Rock. Chris Rock kind of said the same thing. He's Shaq's rich, and the man who cuts that check is wealthy.
Yes,
and there's a big difference between the two.
Yes,
but when you're looking at the seats we sit in, $300 million, so like that's wealthy.
Yes,
and when the man who's making the 300 million tells you, nah, that dude,
yes,
the dude Jenny Bus,
yes,
the Bus family,
yes, that own the team and his family rich and you know,
and that is a great way to look at it, because sometimes no matter where you sit is going to depend on how you see things.
Yes,
along with everything else. And I think you made a good point. Maybe the hustle, and maybe everybody has hustle, but where you want to get with your hustle is just different.
Yeah. Again, you might grind, and then you might hustle, you know, or super grind. And they got fine grinders and they got big grinders. And everybody can't, just like everybody can't be their own businessman, or everybody wants to own their own business or be TikTok. What do they call these influencers?
Yeah, influencers.
Everybody doesn't have it. You're not born with the ability to influence somebody because you say that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
You're not, I might be I want to be the best grinder, the billionaire homeowner, or, you know, own multiple real estates or businesses. But you have to have something internally to want to get up every day and push yourself.
Yeah, because you have those days that are super, super hard. Again, just the idea of hustling.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I know people who say they want different things than I want.
Yes.
And that is always okay, obviously. But then there are times where I wish I could want, and I don't mean to disrespect anybody, what that person wants seems to be less than what I want.
That's why I was doing this, because I'm like, ooh, I just can't stomach when you say, we talk about houses all the time. Mm-hmm. Live in a nice neighborhood, nice house, but this is not my forever home.
Right.
I want marble floors. I want palace type of stuff. Mm-hmm. I want the maid. I want the chef. Right. I want the private plane. I want all of that.
Right.
And until I get all of that, I don't feel I've succeeded. We say legacy.
Which takes me to what I was going to say. You and I are similar in that way when we talk about, when people ask me, why do I do what I do? What am I looking to get out of my career? At the end of the day, immortality is the word that I use. Where I was going to go was for those people, because let's say everybody has hustle. Let's just say everybody has it, but we just want different things out of it.
Yeah.
I look at those people who want less than I want, and sometimes I envy those people.
Yeah.
And honestly, guys,
to just be a corner boy and just want some sneakers, a coat, to have money to go out for the weekend.
If we're using that as an example, yes. Yes. Or to just be a dude who's an accountant, and you got your 2.5 kids and your wife and your dogs.
Picket fence, all that cute stuff.
Picket fence, and you're working towards retirement with your IRA. Yeah. And when it's all said and done, you probably die, you know, hopefully on vacation, or maybe out in the garden with the wife.
Comfortable.
And you're just comfortable.
Yes. And that's what we're uncomfortable being comfortable.
Yeah, I don't like comfort. I'm always looking for the next thing. Yeah, so that's true. But I'd be lying if I said sometimes that doesn't seem appealing, because this shit is hard.
Yeah, yes. We were just talking about reinventing yourself, because that's what you're doing when you're hustling, is every day you're reinventing yourself to see what do I need to tweak to become better, to become more popular, to have people coming to me so much so that I have to turn them away. Right.
Now, don't get me wrong. Once I come back to my senses, I'm like, no, there's no way I can live that life.
But an apartment 5C, with the Escalade out in front.
Look, either that or the scenario I just described.
Yeah, picket fence and dog.
I don't ever want to retire. I want my empire. I want people working for me. I want to be able to jump on my private jet and fly around and have multiple homes. And
you could do that retired.
No, you can't be retired and do that. You can look like people can think you're retired as well.
Yes.
Look at Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is 93 years old and he's still calling shots.
Yes. But he's not in there every day in the office.
No, he's not in there every day, but he's not retired either.
Yes. There's I get the pushback. Yeah, you're definitely right.
Nothing moves unless at Berkshire Hathaway, unless Mr. Buffett says,
yeah, he has the final say so on all of it. You know, he might let some stuff, like you can handle that small stuff, but if it's over a certain amount, you got to come see me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's ideally that's where I want to be, is to where I have enough residual income coming in from different places. Multiple streams of income is one of my favorite books. If you're out there and you want to know how to make it, multiple streams. I think it's 11 or 7 multiple streams of income.
Okay.
To that plays in my head, because until you have multiple, because if one dries up, you have several different coming in.
Right.
Then at that point you could say, exhale a little bit. And I don't think I'm close to it, where I want it, to where my grandkids couldn't spend it.
Well, and that's another goal that some people have, and that's another way to kind of mark where you're at with your hustle. I think people also confuse hustling sometimes with scaling, or not understanding scaling.
Yeah.
Hustle is hustle, but you want to be hustling towards being able to scale whatever that business model is, whatever your business is. So when I say I don't want to retire, doesn't mean I want to be singular in this company, doing everything myself.
Yeah. I want to come in, as I say, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, maybe, 3 days a week. But Mondays and Fridays, I'm definitely not in.
I'm in whenever the fuck I want to be in.
Yeah. Call me. I'm on the plane. Yeah, what's going on? Okay. Well, tell Jake to take care of that, and I'll be back on Tuesday.
Right, that type of thing. Yeah. So, but I'm just fascinated with it. And I think I'm fascinated with it because there was a time where I wondered, was there something wrong with me because I just was never satisfied?
I don't know if it's something wrong.
You know what I mean?
It's just different levels to it, and there has to be a different level. Somebody has to be the worker bee.
Right.
Somebody has to be the one who wants to come into McDonald's and clean up and give you a Big Mac. Mm-hmm. And somebody has to be the manager of the McDonald's, and somebody has to own the McDonald's.
Right.
Somebody has to own multiple McDonald's.
Right.
I want to be the person that owns multiple McDonald's, and you call such and such, and when it gets to me, it's a problem that none of them could handle, and it's because, well, we're getting ready to open up a 5th one or a 10th one.
Right.
What do you want to do?
Right.
Type of thing. Not the fry machine is down. No, don't call me for that.
And I think I've had those moments mostly when I was maybe mentally and emotionally exhausted. And then I think this probably happens to anyone. And I don't know why my mind went to being a captive, being a prisoner, when they catch you at your weakest moment and offer you that thing to get you to finally, and that's when you do it because you're just exhausted. I don't know why my mind went there, but I think when I have those moments is when my mind and my emotion and everything, my spirit is weakened by whatever. Like I've grinded my ass all year towards something, and I'm just tired. And I'm like, you just look over there, like it'd be so much easier to do that. If
biblically, if you go back to different people in the Bible, even Christ, when he fasted, it was at the end of the fast that the devil came at him. So when we're at our weakest point is when we're most vulnerable, which is why you have to have people around you to, which we're going to have to definitely talk about mental. Because
talk about right now,
at some point, your mental toughness breaks because you're just human. Yep. I'm exhausted. I'm tired of running uphill with this rock.
Right.
And if you don't have somebody or a team around you to support you and say, let me carry the rock for you, or I'm going to help push you up the hill, or don't worry about it, put the rock down for a minute. Because we're going to internally just want to carry the rock. And at some point, you're just going to get exhausted because until you got the team.
That's great.
You're not able to hand the rock off. So when you say retirement, it's not full retirement, but at Berkshire, he's not doing day to day. He has other people carrying rocks for him.
100%.
So that's where you want to be. Ideally, is where you have other people carrying the rocks, and then you also have a team around you, so that when you do get that big boulder, they go, okay, what are we going to do? How can we help you, sir?
Yeah, it is definitely important, and I've been able to. That's one thing I have been lucky to be able to do, because getting the right team around you doesn't just mean finding the right people. It also means getting rid of the wrong people, even though you love them.
That's good. That's good. Yes, that's a good one there.
And so
it's a hard one. It's
a hard one, which is why I feel lucky that and sometimes people help you with that.
Yeah. So they help themselves out the door.
I feel lucky because it's It takes two people. It takes one person to help themselves out the door, but it takes you
to open the door.
To open the door.
Yeah.
And be okay with going. And when you have someone around you that you've had and you loved and you I guess you have this fairy tale. Now, I will speak for myself. Mm-hmm. I used to have this fairy tale in terms of my career that it would be me and there would be my friends inside of the industry, and we would do like who I always use, Adam Sandler and that whole crew.
Yes.
We would make the climb up together. Mm-hmm. But then reality hits. People fall off, or there's jealousy because you're getting something someone else isn't getting, and I should be a star, you shouldn't be the star, and all these different things. And you still find yourself trying to drag these people anyway, because you're committed to this fairy tale you have in your head until if you don't, you're gonna be, you ever seen in those movies somebody sinking because they got rocks tied around their ankles?
Yes.
That's where you at.
Yeah, you wind up in quicksand.
Unless you figure out, I need to cut this loose.
Let me grab this rope, and if you're not willing to get out, I love the Adam Sandler analogy, because he does have a core group. And it's finding the core group and allowing the people who don't fit in the core. And everybody in the core group, like we talk about going on vacation. And me and my best friend used to always be like, come on, everybody, let's go on a cruise. Let's go here. Yeah. So much so that we were paying for people to go with us. Yes. And then we'd be like, okay, the next time you got it. And they'd be initially excited about it. Right. And then 90 days in, oh man, I need that money back. We're like, no, but we're going away in another 2 months. Oh, I can't think that far out. And that, for a lot of people, is thinking that far ahead. Yes. Like you're like, again, to me, if you don't have a whiteboard in your house, you're not a grinder. If you don't have a notepads all over the place, you're not really a grinder. Yeah. You're a dreamer, which is different.
It's huge, which is why the word potential is a 4-letter word for me. Yeah. Because whenever and all of us have known them, whether we know them personally or we heard the stories from other people. Whenever they talk about someone who could have and they didn't, the word normally is used, they had such great potential. Yeah. And I've always thought this way. At the end of my days, whenever people come and they throw dirt on me, I don't want it to be said, he has such great potential.
Yes, because that means that you didn't achieve.
You didn't achieve. And a lot of times, especially growing up where I grew up and coming from some of the background I come from, and you can relate to this, and a lot of you guys too out there can too. There's a lot of us who grew up in those streets, and we're surrounded by a ton of people who had potential.
Could have pulled you in there easily.
Well, could have pulled you in, but a lot of them who fell in had potential.
Yes, I mean, just think of some of the biggest pharmaceutical reps, street pharmaceutical reps that are incarcerated. Meach just got out. Yes. He had a multi-million-dollar business. If you would have turned that to, and he was trying to, but his concern was everybody else not being able to, so he was carrying people. But in order to run a multi-level business, you have to be a genius to an extent, and it requires a tenacity, a grind to do anything. I don't care who you are. If you're successful, and people's level of success is different, and that's what part of the grind is. I just want to make 50,000. Okay, great.
And you make it a great point, because I've yet to ever meet a successful pharmaceutical rep, street pharmaceutical rep, who was a dummy.
Yeah, no.
Like when you talk about knowing numbers, especially the ones who are in the kitchen. Yes. Knowing the chemistry and everything. Nah, bro. And then knowing business organization. Yeah. Bro, no. Yeah. And you always think, if Jay-Z's a perfect example of that.
Yes. To take it from there and be able to, and it's the transition. Being able to transition from your past life to, I can't do this forever, because there's nobody who did that is still alive today with that much money, or 100%. Hasn't been in jail for 20 years 100%. And now coming out. So
I'm glad you said that, because I just thought about it. I'm not saying anybody out there should start there and then that's how you're going to end up like Jay. Not at all. No. He's one in a lifetime situation.
And he wasn't as deep in as...
No.
But again,
he was in.
Yes. If you're in the game, you understand being in the game. But I tell it, when I used to do jail ministry, I'd be like, was that 18 months? Because that's all you did was 18 months of living good. Worth 5-10 years of your life.
Because because when you say in the game, you can have a toe in the game and still end up one way or the other.
Yeah, listen, it don't take but one little thing, and you're doing 7 years.
Yes,
if not longer. And
or we singing, songs.
Again, listen, and that's what I tell them all the time. Like, listen, was it worth it? That great month that you might have had all the partying that you wanted to do, but you're not home for your kids. You're not home for your wife or your girlfriend. So now she done moved on. Your mom has passed away because you had 18 months of fun.
Well, that's the other part, I guess, of this conversation. Then not just are you born with hustle or not born with hustle, is if you do have it, who sees it first?
Yeah.
And who pulls you in
first?
Yes.
And this is where the smart hustler I don't want to say dumb hustler, but you understand in that game, and we're just using that as an example, you can't do it forever. And I give 18 months, and that's a long period of time. It's not even that much anymore. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to transition to something different. And if you look at anybody who was doing it big, they were all trying to transition out of it.
Eventually, every movie you see.
Yes.
It's that whole Godfather thing where Michael Corleone was like, oh, yeah, now I'm going to take the business and we're going to,
legalize it
and make it legal.
Yeah.
Put us into some clean shit, casino. And every movie, damn near you see, that's always what they're trying to do. And that's what you always hear.
Yes.
Real life thugs and gangsters do say too.
Listen, by the grace of God, that it wasn't, because I was real close to being in the orange jumpsuit, but he pulled me out and said, no. Again, I think everything we go through in life, the hustle part of us is never diminished, because I'm still a hustler. I just understood that I can't hustle that way. I need to hustle smarter, is what they say. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to be a crash dummy. I always knew I was smarter than a crash dummy. Even in the military, they was like, dude, you can never be a private. And even in life, in everything I do, I'm always a supervisor, a manager, mm-hmm. I'm in the upper circle because my personality, my hustle outdoes everybody else, because I don't want to be a peon. I don't want to be a regular. I don't know how to put that outfit on.
Yeah, but I want to say this though. There's a lot of people who think that way, and I've been related to them, and they had such great potential. And what I'm going to say to that is, a lot of us out here don't want to be here. Mm-hmm. We want to be here or here. We want to be in the inner circles. We feel like we should be a part of the decision. What's that?
Are you willing to work for it?
And that's it. We don't take the steps to get there. Yeah. You think I should just have, and that is not the way it works.
I don't know if it's, and I'm not trying to beat up on the younger generation, the Z's or the X's. Well, I don't even know what Y's, whatever you guys are called now.
I think it's zeros or A's.
Yeah, zeros probably works. Whatever you're calling yourselves. Nothing that you see of, like, the people who have achieved these things, they didn't just show up. They didn't just scratch off and suddenly become this.
It's hard.
It took work. It took grinding. It took being low man and then showing yourself to have potential, and then maybe hitting a ceiling at this specific spot and having to go somewhere else. Most people don't stay at the same place or job or
not anymore.
Area anymore. You have to continue in order to elevate, because somebody doesn't want you to take their job, and eventually you're going to take somebody's job. And if you're not smart enough to know when to pivot or when to change, you're going to get stuck and stepped on.
I want to and you're right, but I want to take a couple of steps back real quick and go back to hustle and the right person seeing you. Because I want to go back to those kids who grow up, the smart kids, and they have hustle and they have grind and they have want. Mm-hmm. And they get plucked early by the wrong people, because those people see something in you.
Yes. We smell, alpha smells alpha. Real smells real.
Yeah, and I don't think that's why they're plucking them, though. You're plucking them because
potential. You see the potential, and they're willing to, not just potential, but they have what it takes to take that potential and make it into something different. And you know that you can mold it into what you need. Which
is why I think it really does mean something. And I don't care if the kids are black, white, Hispanic. I don't care what they are. I think that's why it really does. It is that nature over nurture, I think, at times.
Yeah.
Because if you can take the smartest kid and have him in that type of environment and never have him see anything but that, then he or she doesn't know that anything else exists.
We talk about this all the time. moving to a certain environment where I always try to move my kids to where the exclusively uber rich were, because that's David's son, that's Lil Derek, that's such and such, because the potential for them to get elevated, because it's just a fact of life. If you're around people who are go-getters, you can't help but go get it. Even if you're not to the potential they are, you're still ahead of 90% of the world or the country. I think that TV and a lot of the platforms have muddied it up for folks. Like, they just see it and they're like, oh man, I can't wait to get that. Like, I remember when MTV Cribs was out.
Yeah.
And my kids would be like, oh man, that's their house. And I'd be like, they got a Michelangelo painting in there. The dude can't spell Michelangelo.
Right.
No, that's really his house. Look what he did. That's not his house. Why would a hood cat have a Mona Lisa picture up there?
Right.
He don't even know who she is.
Right.
And we all got fooled and bamboozled into thinking that, oh, I too can make a one hit and then become a multimillionaire. When you understand the music industry, you know that it's very rare that you make one hit and it become, I think there's like 3 or 4 people, Tone Loc, Vanilla Ice, who made those songs that.
But even Vanilla Ice went and flipped that.
Yes,
he flipped that money.
Yes,
and they talk about Ice now.
Yeah,
and everything he owns.
Listen, he figured it out. Yeah. He figured out I can't do this.
But I think he came from a different background, though. I don't think he came from.
No, his family got a little money. Out my understanding.
Yeah,
he didn't come from.
He wasn't. I don't think they were driving those 5.0s like that. Where he came from.
Yes,
but you are making a great point. Because we talked about this, how you tried to raise the kids and what you tried to present them with, which is why my mother moved us to where she moved us, to give us a different outlook on things. Because as smart as I was,
you would have
as a kid, who knows?
Yeah, you could have been,
one decision.
Escobar Jr.
I remember being maybe 13 years old, 12, 13 years old. Taking a shower at home. My mom is at work. My mother's worked at GM, so she worked afternoons, evenings, whatever. And a buddy of mine came running up the stairs and come running to the bathroom. And I'm like, what's going on? He said, so-and-so and them just got into it over here on the other street. So I jump out, dry off, throw on something, and we jump and go over. I'm 13 years old.
Yeah.
First of all, I want you to understand something. Had my mother been there, she'd have whooped everybody's asses.
Yes.
Because my mother did not allow any of that.
Yeah.
But I'm doing to go take care of my friends. We get there. There was nothing that was really going down. We all jumped back in the car and went back to our block. But stuff could be over that easy. Yeah. I'm a straight A student kid.
Yeah.
I'm an honor roll kid in honor classes.
And if you got in a fight and you hit somebody and they fell and cracked their head and died, now you're in jail.
That's the easy part. What if somebody pulls something?
Yeah. Or just stabbed you. Or you're the one who cracked their skillet and dies.
I got a cousin doing life since he was 18 years old. So that was over 20 years ago, because he was just in the car.
Yeah. Wrong place, wrong time.
So one step to the left or to the right, it's over. And again, talking about pulling your kids out as smart as they can be, as much hustles as they can be. And this is the point I was trying to make. It's so important for them to get, to be the right hand that touches them on the shoulder, to be the right hand.
Yes. Because you can put them in a great environment. I mean, the Menendez brothers. Yeah. Perfect example of, you could be in a great environment and get everything and still be in jail for 25 years.
Well, that's a different one. Now we got to figure out that they were really being assaulted, I guess.
Okay. Who knows? You're still in jail for 25 years.
Yeah, 100% on that. You get sent away, and they've been gone a long time. Yeah. We got to come back and talk about that again one day.
If they get freed.
But the hustle thing, it really, I don't know, I get stuff in my head and I get really intrigued by it and I get locked in on it. And the hustle thing really, because I don't sometimes understand how people don't want more than what they have. But then I always have to remember, it's not up for me. It's not up to me to decide what you should want.
Yes. And this is why I think, again, the Gen Z, Gen X, whatever they are, I feel like, even for my kids, that we always want our kids or the younger generation to have more than we have. But they only see you in the big house. They didn't see you in the apartment. Yeah. So they feel like, well, this is just supposed to happen. And it doesn't just happen. It took sacrifices. It took working 70 hours, 3 jobs sometimes, to make sure that you had whatever you needed. And because it was easy for them, a lot of times we stunt their growth into, and again, I see it with a lot of your younger people, is that they just feel like, well, I deserve this. And I'm like, deserve what? Like, you deserve to smack on your tail when you got born to make sure you was breathing, and that's what you deserved.
And that's why you see, and we know this, I'm not just pulling this out of nowhere. That's why you see so many second, third generation businesses that fail.
Yes.
Because the parents knew what hard work was and knew what this was. I've known people who parents have had successful businesses. Excuse me, I don't know why I said it that way. Businesses.
It sound like me. Butchering it.
But when it came time to pass that business on, the kids wanted nothing to do with it.
How many times?
And the parents have to sell it.
Yes. And
I remember growing up or when I was younger thinking, are you crazy? What I would have done for my mother to be able to have had a successful business, to hell, even if it was just an ice cream truck, to pass on, other than just, you know, and I'm not knocking my mother. My mother, we had a great life. My mother made a ton of money. We lived very, very well. From what she did with her life working for General Motors. But to be able to pass a business on, a legacy, those things, I would have done almost anything.
But you're a different animal
to do that,
and that's part of the thing that we say is it has to be in you. Yeah. You have to want it in order to want it, because I believe that we would have taken the business and made it multiply,
bro.
You know, would have taking over the world, as Craig, as opposed to
what is it? Top flight security world, Craig.
You know, what are we going to do today, Brain? We're going to take over the world. You know,
which is I used to love that.
Yes. What are we doing today? We're going to take over the world. So
I root for the Brain. He never got it though.
But you have to have it internally. You have to have a desire to want more and to be willing to put the work in. So there's 2 things: want more and be willing to put the work in. Because a lot of people now want more, but they want it like, well, how come I don't have it? Like when I used to do like the doors, how come they get to go up there? They're at a different level.
I'm sorry, you used to do what now? What
security work.
Okay.
You know, I remember being distinctively, they had like 2 different levels, and I'm standing at the staircase, and this, not Tyrese, but the other dark-skinned actor, big boy, did the Coca-Cola commercial.
Oh, that's Tyrese.
No, the other looks like sort of like Tyrese, big bald head dude, but he's from Compton.
Okay.
No, he's a model. He used to be like a supermodel.
Oh, you talking about Tyson?
Yes, Tyson Beckford.
Yeah, Tyson Beckford.
He goes up the steps, and this other dude who was a B model. Mm-hmm. He was like, they called me. They told me they want me to come up there. And I'm like, you don't have the right credentials. Yeah. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to you, but you don't have the badge. Well, where do I get the badge from? If you knew where you were supposed to get the badge from, you would have the badge. And you don't have the badge. So don't be mad at me. And he was like, well, you know, I'm such and such. And I was like, I know who you are, but you don't have go ask somebody who you think you should ask. And if they give you the badge, you can go upstairs. Until then, no. Right. Oh, man, you think you are? I'm the dude telling you can't go upstairs. That's who I am. Right. I try to be nice. And now I don't care if you come with the badge. I'm not letting you up there. Right. So, again, you also have to understand that there's different levels. Again, we know that we can go to some of these houses in Scottsdale and we go drive around sometimes, but I'm not doing it at 8 o'clock at night. Right. Because I already know that they're going to have me on the ground laid out. And some of them are, we've been invited to some of these houses, so we've been able to walk around and see and like, oh, okay. So it gives you the ability to dream, but also understand that that's their level. I'm not Warren Buffett. I don't own, 10 McDonald's like Shaq or 50, 50. Yeah. But that's the goal, is to get as close to that as I can, if not surpass that. Right.
Right. Yeah. And that goes back to kind of where we started, hustle, you're born with it. Is it something that you can teach? Or I think it's something that has to already be in you. I don't think anybody can put that in you.
You can nurture it and make it.
Nurture it.
Yes. But if you don't have it in you, I don't care how much I give to you to show you. If you don't want to do anything and I give you $10 million, you're not going to make it 50. Mm-hmm. But if you have a desire to make the 10 50, then me tweaking you and showing you where to go, you can potentially make it that much.
And I don't think it's economics when it comes to the hustle.
No.
I don't think that matters. I don't think that plays a part on whether you're born with it.
No, because there's people who got millions of dollars who
still hustle grind. Yeah.
You know, and then just think of the people who have had successful businesses and then reinvented themselves and did something different.
Yes.
And made more money and more money.
Which kind of goes back to where you were at before with when you mentioned Shaq and the Lakers and the Bus family who owns the Lakers and rich versus wealth. When you look at what Shaq was able to do, I don't know where it came from for Shaq. I would love to one day ask him. But Shaq obviously had some type of hustle.
Come on the show, Shaq. Come on the show.
I don't know if it came from, his father, Sarge, or his mother, or because he talks about that upbringing and how tough they were on him. Yeah. I don't know if it comes from that. I don't know where it comes from. What I do know is this man made what he made.
Yes.
And decided, I want more.
Yes.
And has been able to put the team around himself and make the decisions to take that money.
This goes back to the team. If you don't have the right people, Jay, he had to go from
Jay-Z.
The hustle of folks who are just hustling to the folks that hustle at a different level.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to show you how to do stocks. I'm going to tell you to buy paintings.
Yes.
And put money over here and make it really grow and legally make it grow, as opposed to, other things that you do. So again, I think you're right. It's a combination of things, but you have to have something a fire inside of you that says, I want more.
And I don't know. And again, I just don't know where it comes from. I'm going to share a quick story before we move on. I'm loving this part of the conversation.
Yeah.
I knew this young man who got a scholarship of some sort to go to a trade school. And I congratulated him. And I said, hey, man, so when you leave, what's your plan? So on and so forth. He said, I don't know if I want to go.
Plenty of people, bro.
And I said, 100.
Yes.
But I said, what's going on? He said, well, I'm going to go. I'm going to miss my girl. I'm going to miss my friends. I'm going to do whatever. And I said, I promise you, because I was old enough at that time to know this to be true.
They'll be there.
I promise you, they will be here in the same spot. You're not missing anything. And unfortunately,
he didn't go.
He didn't go. Oh, he ended up getting his girl pregnant, and now he's doing some work for his street pharmaceutical uncle at the time. I don't know where he's at this point in time, but this was 20 years ago, so I don't know where he is at this time. But I remember that what that immediate came about was, and that was it. And I just wow.
I thank the Lord, because I've had throughout my life several people who have God placed them in the right place 100%. At the right time for me to hear and for me to, sometimes I didn't always hear it right away. Sometimes I had to get the snot box busted or the bloody eye and then go, wait a minute, let me backtrack 5 steps ago and go, ooh, I missed that. But again, this is when you have to have an ear to understand that I don't know everything.
Right.
And, telling folks, I can't count as many people as I told, they're going to be here when you get there. Again, when you come back, they're going to be on the corner drinking a 40 or they might be pumping gas. Again, high school friends, I tell kids all the time, the dude who's popular in high school is probably going to be pumping gas in 5 years. They're not
too early.
Yeah. Peaked way too early. So it's a grind. You got to be willing to take the steps, the pegs along the way, and continue to not be discouraged. But this is where the team comes in. It's saying, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Keep going.
It's a team for your entire life, because you have this, man, I love this conversation right now. It's making me think of so much, because it's not just a team that you have now that you put around you as an adult.
You can outgrow them.
It's a team for your entire life, because I may have shared this on this pod. I don't know, but you guys can hear it again, I guess.
Yeah. You need it.
When I think about the cousins and the uncles who were street pharmacists who said, no, not him.
Yeah. But they don't do that anymore. To the degree.
Not him.
Yes.
And I better not catch you here.
Yeah.
Or what are you
It's time for you to go home.
Or time to go home. Or what are you doing in the first place?
Yeah. Yes.
Type shit.
Listen, I can honestly say that there's been times when, again, and it's not always family. It's not always friends. Sometimes it's just somebody, hey, go home.
I remember being a kid and having that awkward stage like we've all went through, and asking my older cousin, Andrea, and she doesn't remember. She's 6 years older than me. I had to be maybe 10 at the time. and having that awkward stage at 10 years old. We've all been there where something grows faster than the rest of you. And I had these big ass feet at the time when the rest of me hadn't caught up. But just saying to her one day, we were just walking up the porch, Andrew, am I ugly?
Yeah, boy. Oof.
And she, and she just turned, she said, what? And I asked the question.
Because that's what you really felt.
That's what I felt.
Yeah. I'm in that awkward stage. Do they really like me?
And she said, no, you're not ugly.
That was important though.
Huge.
Yes.
That was a huge thing for me at 10 years old. And that, like I say, these little things when it comes to kids or for adults, change.
Yes.
Everything.
I go to even older.
Okay.
When I got divorced.
Okay.
For the second time. I thought I was a piece of junk. I wasn't worthy. I wasn't a good father. I wasn't a good husband. This is my second time getting divorced. I didn't know what I was doing. This might not be. And luckily I had a friend say, I don't know who told you that you was a piece of trash, but you're really a good dude.
Right.
And that reinvigorated me and made me think about that no matter what self-doubt, unawareness, because we get unaware, we get caught in the moment.
Yep.
God placed that person there to be able to pull me out of 100%, the circle.
100%.
And I'm grateful. This is why I grind for him now, because I understand it took but a second. I meet people all the time doing the homeless thing where I've met doctors, got divorced, boop, got high one day, took his license. Cops, had a bad situation, boom. There's a dude who used to do the news out here. He's living in his car.
Wow. So
it just takes, there's people who get divorced and lose their mind. I've been divorced twice. So I dodged 2 bullets that could have easily taken me up out of here.
Right.
I've made 18 different job choices that didn't work out the way that I thought they were going to work out. Yeah. But the grind in me, okay, this didn't work out. We'll try this. We'll try this. We'll try that. There was a point where we were getting ready to do fishing in Alaska. Get on the boat and do fishing. And luckily, I saw a commercial and was one of them fishing shows. And the dude was like, we lost 3 people today. We don't know where they are. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So again, the grind and the hustle. We're gonna have to come back to this, Sid, because this is really intriguing me. It's got my brain thinking of where it comes from.
I want to stay on it for a couple more minutes though, because every time you say something, or I say something, I'm like, well, there's something. I was talking to a friend of mine. I have a friend, old friend, who's going through some medical stuff, and I just got some news today that is pretty.
Keeping him in prayer.
Pretty bad. Yeah. And talking to the friend who called me, or I called him, he was giving me the update, and he's going through some things. And we had a great conversation for about an hour and a half. We hadn't caught up in years. So it was a great conversation talking about where he's at in life and old memories and all those different things. And I remember saying to him, God has a way of letting you know. Yeah. You think God says, oh, you think it can't get worse? Cool. Here, let me give you this. Let me show you. You think that's not a blessing? Let me remind you that this is a blessing, even though you're shitting on it. Yeah, yes. And you know what I mean?
Yes, very much so. I tell them all the time.
And if you don't like religion or believe in God, I don't want to tell you, cut the podcast off. Yeah.
You definitely don't want to hear from me.
We both believe in it. I was raised in it. Yes. So, I always speak it like it, but I was. It's a foundational piece for me. So if you don't think it can be worse, or you don't think this is God will help you figure it out.
Just look to again, whenever I tell folks this, whenever it's bad for you, go serve somebody else less fortunate. Yeah. And then you'll realize whatever I got going on, it's not that bad. I'm not sleeping in a car. I'm not sleeping on the street. I'm not in the hospital breathing through a tube. There was a period of time I was in the hospital every week for like 4 months straight. But I was sitting next to somebody whom got a bill for $13,000, and I had a $50 bill. While I was in the hospital, it wasn't $13,000. So, again, and I think that sometimes we do a pity party for ourselves, but man, you don't understand, it's hard. Listen, it's hard out here.
And don't need nobody else to show up to the party.
No, man.
Don't need nobody else to show up.
But it requires an internal want I give my wife credit because there's times that she puts the battery back in my back when it pops out.
There you go.
Or recharges it for me.
And that's a good spouse.
Yes.
That's what a good spouse is supposed to do.
Or friends that'll be like, you finished, or God himself will be like, you finished crying about it? No. Okay, well, go ahead and then cry. But come on back out here when you finish.
Yeah,
and then at some point he'll be like, enough crying. It's time for you to man up and do what you need to do. I know you didn't want to do that, but you need to do that.
I'll call you and I'll be, if you never met me, I could be an angry dude, a vengeful dude. That's kind of my default setting. And I'll call up Dave and we'll talk about something and you'll try to give me that knowledge with a little bit of joke. And and you said to me a couple times on the phone, I can hear you don't want to hear this.
Because I know what it sounds like when you're talking and somebody's like, I'm like, no, I'm listening to you. No, you're not. No, you're not. Yeah, you're hearing me, but you ain't listening to me.
You don't want to hear this right now.
Yes, and I get it.
And then the next day I'll call you and I'm like, you know what?
It's sunk in for a minute.
I love you. I appreciate you for doing that.
Yes.
And I'm able to receive.
Yes.
I heard it, but I'm able to receive it later.
And this is the thing about knowing oneself. Again, if you don't have the grind, find somebody to hold on to grind and help you to get some sort of grind. Everybody doesn't have it, but somebody who's grinding or somebody who's achieving stuff. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
I had a girlfriend say that to me.
Man, listen, it's one of those things that's spin in my head. If you're smarter than everybody else, you're richer than everybody else, dude. You just somebody just said, if you're an old dude around young people, you like to be in charge. You don't like to not have somebody looking up to you. You can't have somebody above you. And I was like, oh, that's deep. So I always, again, in my 58 years of life, I've made a lot of mistakes. So I can kind of tip, no, that road, you're going to bump your head. Promise you. Okay, fall down. I'll be here. Come on back over here. Let's go to the left and not to the right. Sometimes you have to make your own mistakes. A lot of times you have to make your own mistakes. We don't learn as well when it's an easy path. And I think that's where we go back to the younger generation, is that it's been easy for them to you live in a house. You got your own bedroom,
Yeah, but I would also say, not to put it just there to give the younger folk a little bit of a break, because I just told someone the other day, there's a lot of old fools out there.
Yeah. Oh, yes, definitely.
To your point, being 58, to be in a position to give wisdom is because not only did you do shit, but you learned from that.
Yeah, and did dumb
and
shit.
You corrected. And you don't pretend like you didn't.
Yeah.
There's a lot of old fools out here at the club or wherever with the shirt but 2 buttons unbuttoned, and you want to pretend like you're still 25 and you didn't make any mistakes and you got it going on, when everyone from a distance can see you are a mistake walking around.
Yes, because you're the old dude in the club.
Every time you open your mouth.
Yeah, or you think you're smarter than everybody else, and let me tell you this, dude. You got the Cadillac you had from 1974.
Yeah.
With the white walls and everything on it.
Oh, man.
The spinners
white
poking
walls.
out. Yeah, like again, there's levels, and maybe that's the level that you want to be at. I never wanted to be the old dude in the club.
No.
Scared me.
But this goes back to what you know, what you see, and what you are. You say the word, what you're afraid of.
Yes.
And if you don't know anything else, you're afraid to do anything else.
I'm afraid to be a nobody. I go to funerals, and I think if you are at a funeral and it's not packed, you didn't have an impact. And I've been to my oldest son's ex-girlfriend's mom. They had to open up the church for her. And I was like, do you understand? She had like 150 people there from different states that drove in to see this lady be whatever the word is. Yeah, laid at rest. And then I've been to funerals where it might be me and 2 other people.
Yeah, it's rough. I've been to those.
It's like, ooh, like, oh man, did you leave a footprint? Again, I just want people to say, that dude, there's that old post that I put up every once in a while. You made me want to be a better person.
Okay.
I just want folks to be like, you know what? I had a great time with him. He pushed me. He didn't let me, unless I wanted to be lazy. And then if you want to be lazy, cool. Yeah. I'll take hands off of you. But if you want more, I'm willing to walk with you. I'm willing to grind with you. I'm willing to cry with you, yell with you, whatever. Which is why I have to minimize the amount of internal folks that I let all the way in, because I'm going to ride with you till the wheels fall off. And sometimes that's a detriment.
It definitely is a detriment, and you kind of led me to my final point, and then we'll move on to another topic. But it is, the hustle is great. I pray that you get the right hand on your shoulder, or you have the discernment to know the difference between who's talking to you and who's trying to push you in whatever direction. But you keep going back to this, and it's a great thing you keep saying. Having the right team, and we keep calling them team, but they can just be people, just in general.
It's lonely at the top of
just having the right people around you, because your hustle is not going to be enough on its own.
No.
And you're going to need people who can help you see different things, see around that corner, see what's coming, that type of thing. It is something, and as I get older, with each passing day, I try to get better about these things that we talk about. And I'm grateful to be in the position that I'm in now, to be able to see things come. It's better than I have been in the past.
I'll tell you, it's lonely at the top. I don't know if you understand that in the grind. There's some days where you're grinding alone. There's some days when you want to cry, you want to throw in the towel, you're sick. Man, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
So you have to internally be able to push through and past that, and then have people to when you can't. Like people that are praying for you and with the good, not P-R-E-Y, but P-R-A-Y for you to help push you through and get you through that next ceiling or level in order to actually make it. But I love this conversation. I think this is something we'll have to revisit at some point, and because I'm going to actually start to really look at, is it an internal thing, or is it something that you can be fully matured without it inside of you? I don't know if it can be, and so we're going to have to look at that and start to,
I will. I definitely agree with that. Well, I'm sure we'll come back to this again, because it's not. Excuse me. It doesn't leave my brain. I stay on it, and I know Dave is not. His brain is tweaked on it. We'll come back to it again. Beat this one up in the comments. We want to hear all about it.
What do you think?
Definitely want to hear what you think, and don't forget to go ahead and click that subscribe button. All right, next topic. You know, we all have spirit animals, and I think I found my spirit animal. It is 50 Cent. 50 Cent is my spirit animal. If you don't know me, I have a couple of different mottos. One of them being, I will get you. 50 is exactly that dude. If you have not heard, if you were a fan of the TV show BMF, which I was slowly became a fan, because I thought some of the stuff was a little like, whatever. I don't want to shit on it, but it was a good show overall. It is no longer coming back.
Well, I think there's the final season is this one coming up.
Is it?
Yeah, it's the final season. He was like, because I think the last thing I heard him say was, this will be the final season.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be, though.
No, it wasn't supposed to be. Yes, it was supposed to continue on, especially with what do you call it, coming home?
With Big Meech coming home.
It was supposed to give him an avenue to kind of.
But it looked like some people. Dave and I always talk about making a right turn when you should have made a left. Oops. And it looked like somebody made a right turn when they should have made a left.
Yeah, a hard right turn.
Dave, you want to go ahead and kind of just give the synopsis?
If you know 50 messes with folks, and he don't mess with other folks.
Yes.
And he's clear about who he don't mess with.
Yes.
And Big Meech decided, and I think Rick knew what he was doing.
100%.
Rick kind of pulled him in and said, I'll give you 150 or whatever number it was to do this joint venture to kind of give you some money to eat off of, and he bit the apple.
Was that outside of the concert?
Yes, it was supposed to be a car show.
Okay.
A car show that morphed into I'm gonna do a benefit for you.
Yeah.
So that intrigued him, and we'll do the car show. And he took a picture, all chummied up with him. And 50 said, "Oh, really? Okay." Last episode. And then the son decided to try and reach out and be like, "Come on, 50, why you do this? And well, come on, we can't fix this." It amazes me at not understanding the people whom you're working with and for. If you paid any attention, 50 is consistent with I don't rock with him, and if you rock with him, you've chosen sides, and that's the side you're going to lay on.
I want to hear the rest of what you get ready to say, but I do want to put this in. I just saw today on IG a clip. I don't know what podcast or who's interviewing Fifth, but Fifth says if you're on the fence, then we gonna knock you.
I saw that today too. Yes, then I'm gonna knock you to the other side. And Fifth is again, Fifth is. I love him because he gonna be 50 no matter what. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know that, then I don't think you're paying attention to the people. So I'm not mad at him for doing it. I understand. And Meech, I'm sorry that you had to find out the hard way that the opportunity that you had to really be able to eat for a long time. Mm-hmm. I hope Rick can do it for you, but I don't think he can do it the way 50 was going to do it. So.
I had lunch over the weekend with my two brothers, with a couple of my brothers in comedy. Big Irish J, comic out of Vegas. He stayed here at the house. He was in town working with D-Lay over at the Tempe Improv. They had a great weekend over there. But also my brother Casey Courier. Shout out to both these guys. And we went and grabbed a bite to eat. And Casey and I stood out in the parking lot outside of Buffalo Wild Wings and Tempe Improv and just talked for 2.5 hours. And the thing that Casey and I always have an understanding of, and we agree on completely, is loyalty. Mm-hmm. And flowing that back to, you can have an argument. You and I can have an argument after we're off this pod. Mm-hmm. But we're gonna be okay. Yeah. Because we're brothers and we understand certain things, which is loyalty. And that's where I believe, not knowing the man, but just watching from afar, 50 Cent is. Yeah. I don't think it's about the money. I don't think it's about the deal. It's about the loyalty.
Because if you would do me dirty over this, what would you do if money became bigger, mm-hmm. or it became something different? And because, when you almost get unalived, you kind of understand that it's but that quick for it to change. Yeah. And I love, that's why I love 50, because he's consistent with it. And again, I think that somehow we just don't pay attention. We get caught up in the moment and we forget, this is their line in the sand.
Right.
And what are you willing to do for money?
What's it worth to you as Pops, as we always...
Yes.
What's it worth to you?
And he showed what it was worth for him.
It's that other thing, too. And I thought about this, and obviously I don't know Big Meech or Little Meech other than, what I knew growing up in Detroit and hearing from people and then the TV show. But I do know and grew up with people who were in pharmaceutical sales and understand where that mindset is with them sometimes. And their outlook on life sometimes is short.
Yes. Even short money.
And short money.
Yeah.
Because if I have something going with Fifth, the BMF show and all these different things, and he's looked out for my son, and if I am his little Meech, he's looked out for me, so on and so forth, and I know you don't like this dude. Yeah. Why would I put all of this long money possibility?
It flashed in front of his eyes, bro.
And that's my point.
Yes.
Because that mindset, man.
Yeah. You was hungry. You were starving, and you came out as a ravenous dog. And because of that, you bit the first thing coming. Mm-hmm. And you weren't patient enough.
Well, and the other piece is when you hear or see Little Meech put out, my dad was only doing it to get money to pay bills.
Well, you didn't help your dad out.
Where was your money at?
Yeah. But my understanding is that he spent it faster than it come in.
Why I put the one note I put down on here was Little Meech and those jeans. I think they're called Cold Heart jeans. $10,000 a pair. And from what I hear, he had at least 10 pairs.
Yes.
That's $100,000 just in jeans.
Again, because this is where the hustle mentality is. If you're just given, mm-hmm. you don't appreciate the hard work it took to get there.
You know what? That's a great point, because I think Fifth is the one that put him through acting classes and everything.
Pay for it.
Yes.
Again, gave you a job, put you to school, put you through all of this stuff, so you kind of feel like you're entitled. Mm-hmm. Like I'm supposed to get this. Again, I think of basketball, and I think it was Kevin who said, it was Kevin and Mekhi Phifer went to Disney World for Mekhi Phifer's, and he shut it down for his daughter. Yep. And or Kevin was also talking about. I think. No, Mekhi shut it down. Okay. Yes, this is before Kevin became.
Before Kevin. Okay.
Yes, and then Kevin saying, I used to go to strip clubs and the basketball players would come in. Yes. Or you're the basketball player who just got a contract and you're trying to deal with Gilbert. Yeah. Who got $100 million. He's on his third contract.
Right.
And you don't understand it. Money is relative. Because my story about Meech is we were at Nicky's in Atlanta, strip club.
Okay.
We got the section and we balling.
Yeah.
And security tapped me on the shoulder and was like, hey, man, I need y'all to move to the other side. The other side was smaller. So I went in my pocket and gave him, here, take that, man. Just tell him to go on over there. He came back and handed me my money back. I was like, ooh. He was like, I need you to move to the other side. They came over. We was throwing tens. They slapping hundreds. Stacks of hundreds. And they came in. We was 12 deep. They had to be 50 deep.
Right.
So, didn't understand. I didn't even know who it was at the time.
But it was Big Meech.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was them. They came in and it was like, ooh.
BMF rolled through.
Yeah. BMF came through there and we were like, oh, Big Bang take Little Bang.
Yeah.
So
and BMF is Black Mafia family for people.
Yes. Again, I understand. I think you made a perfect point in saying that short game mentality. Mm-hmm. You only were thinking about right now. And instead of going to 50 and saying, hey, I need something now. What can I do to get this? You went to the forbidden fruit.
Right.
And bit from the and not understanding that Fifth don't play with the forbidden fruit.
For some people, and I'm one of these people, for some people, if I don't fuck with you,
yeah,
I can't have people around me who fuck with you.
Yeah. Because then I don't know.
Right or wrong.
Yeah, just.
Right or wrong. Because I've already believed this before, but Fifth put it best in that interview we were talking about. He says, if you're on the fence, I got to knock you off over there, off the fence.
Yes.
Because I don't know whose side you are on if you're sitting on the fence. I don't know if you're taking what I'm saying and running it back over there.
Yes.
I don't know if you're speaking, when you speak to me, if you're speaking for them. So I'd rather just have you over there than to have you around.
If I clearly have decided to put you in the zone, mm-hmm. You've done something to me to make me put yourself in that zone.
Right.
And if you have any respect for my thought process and what I'm trying to do, then if I say I don't fool with them cats, then you fooling with them cats says, well, you don't respect what I'm saying or what I feel. You don't think that I know what I'm like. I'm not just going to put you in that zone because I don't like you.
Right.
You've earned that zone.
They're not over there for nothing.
Yes. And Rick was one of those folks that he put himself in that zone. Mm-hmm. Again, to me, I hate to say a buffoon, but he's a buffoon. He just does buffoonery stuff. And you got to learn how to play the Drake, what do you call it, beef?
K-Dot, Kendrick Lamar.
You got to understand how far you're willing to go and who's better at doing this. 50 is the consummate, like, if you want to troll, he's the wrong person to troll.
And 50 is, if you hear how people speak about Fifth is about that life.
Yeah.
He came up about that life. And on the other hand, you got Rick Ross used to be
CEO.
Who used to be a CEO, who pretends to be.
Yes.
And so 100%, you got two, and you can speak to this, but you got two dramatically different dudes.
I am that dude and you playing that dude.
Right, 100%. And then Rick made this video teasing Cube now, calling him I don't even want to put the words in his mouth, but pretty much calling him weak. And
Ice Cube?
I'm sorry, not Cube. Rick Ross. Calling 50 weak.
Yeah.
And laughing.
Yeah.
Because
he's a baby troll.
Yes.
Trying to troll a grown troll. Again, the grass cutting thing for me was like, he's like, you cutting your own grass.
I mean,
dude, I don't care if you love cutting grass.
You ever nothing else to do?
No, bro.
You got nothing else to do?
Yes. So again, we just think about people that we know. They're like, I did this and I had to save this money. You don't really have money.
Right. You don't have money like that.
Because your time is worth more than that. Cutting grass, I paying somebody to cut my grass. I tell folks all the time, if you want to cut grass, I got a job for you. If you want to, I'll buy the lawnmower. I'll invest in a company. I don't want to cut my own grass.
Right.
But if that's what you want to do, then like if he owned a grass cutting company and he was selling it on the side, I get the whole commercial. Yeah. But you was just gives me peace. Nah, bro, not 50 acres of peace, bro.
Whatever.
And he got a lot of land.
He got a ton of land. They got Coming to America. That shitty Coming to America. Sorry, Eddie.
It was. Listen,
it was not.
It was a money grab, and I ain't mad at him.
I'm not. Hey, get your money how you live. But yeah, so Fifth is my spirit animal, man.
Yes.
Like I said, I love that he again, you put it best. You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
And that's why I wasn't surprised when he trolled Irv Gotti when Irv passed away. I shouldn't even say troll. He celebrated the fact that Irv Gotti passed away.
You know, I worked for that team, so that was who gave me the first opportunity to be a bodyguard in the industry. So I got love for him, but I also understand because I was on the other side of, if you do me dirty and you wished me no good and you did everything you could to try and stop me, I might not have celebrated it, but I wasn't crying over it.
Right.
So there's plenty of people out there in the world who have tried to stop me from doing the various different things. And I'm like, okay, cute. As long as you don't physically get in my way.
Right.
Because then I'm going to run you over. And that's what 50 does. 50 runs folks over.
When it comes to that, when it came to Fifth, I guess if you look at it through the POV, that Fifth actually thinks Irv is the one to try to have him killed, then I can see.
Or he knew it was coming, he knew he was too close. He
had something to do with, allegedly.
He was in close vicinity to people who had something to do with it, whether he did it directly, helped it, didn't help it. But even after that, he hindered him from being successful and said, yeah, I did it. I made phone calls to say, if you hire him, you're not going to get job.
Right. So it is, there was that hate on both sides.
Yes.
And so I have no problem with him celebrating it, I guess. I can't say that I wouldn't celebrate someone or someone's out there if it happened, because I feel like they did me dirty.
Yeah.
Again,
I get it.
I led this honestly and said Fifth was my spirit animal, so I'm not going to sit and pretend like it's opposite now. The one thing I do say when it in concern for Fifth is that what we talked about before, God has a way of making you see things differently. And
at some point, I'm sorry to cut you off. Is that as we mature, the ravenous dog in that you did something to me, you got to pay for it right now. I kind of calmed down and realized I can't be that dude. That energy that you give out comes back.
And it takes a lot.
Yes. And while he does it, and he does it with a smile, he still, like, Fifth don't just poke you in the eye. He pokes you in the eye, hit you in the throat, and then stomps on you. At some point, as you said, God, like, you got to pay for all of that. You have to have an accounting for it. Like, hey, wait a minute, you're negative a whole bunch over here. I know you did a lot of great stuff, but what about this?
You got to make this balance sheet.
Yeah, and that's the only thing I hate for 50 is that at some point it has to come back, and maybe that's what him and his son, they're not having that relationship, and gotta hurt. I don't care how much you say I don't care. It still hurts us as a father. It hurts us to not have a great relationship with our child.
I would 100% agree that has to play some part. No matter how much you want the world to not think that it does. Unless you are a complete psycho or sociopath.
And I don't think 50 is. I don't think he is. I think he's still a human being. I
don't think he is either, because when you hear how he speaks about M and Dre and other people and the love that he has, and you hear Tony Yayo, who seems to be on Vlad TV all the time being interviewed.
Yeah, listen, Vlad, he had to get new people because he chased a couple people away.
But Tony Yayo has nothing but kind words to say about Fifth. And you can say that's because Fifth makes sure Tony Yayo works and keeps money in his pocket. And Tony Yayo was smart to keep on the good side.
Just think about the whole G Unit. And he explains it like, listen, this guy thought he was the man. I always knew 50 was the man.
You talking about the game?
The game, Banks, everybody else who's not around, because 50's still out there making money.
Banks isn't with him?
No.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, what you were saying.
If you think about the rest of the crew, the G Unit crew, the only one that's still around 50 now is
Tony Yayo.
Tony Yayo, because he has a loyalty. Like, you waited for me to get out of jail to put me on the album.
Yeah.
You gave me money. You gave me, conversation. You know, if I need something, I call you and you tell me just like Memphis Bleak and Jay.
Yeah.
There's a relationship of understanding that's big bro. Mm-hmm. Like, we got a love and a bond because I'm loyal to you. And Yayo is loyal. And that's where it goes back to the loyalty. Is either you're on my team or you're on the other team. And if you're not sure what team you're on that team. It's
not just loyalty, though, because you can actually be the one maybe in the crew who does have more talent. Mm-hmm. And you still, I don't want to say be submissive or submit. I guess you still have to observe that chain of command. And
Adam Samuel was a great example. He has a whole group of folks, but he doesn't hover over them. He gives them all an opportunity to play their role and do different things.
Well, yes, and I'm not disagreeing with that. I guess where I was going with this, because you brought up Jay and Memphis Bleak, there's been a lot of conversation on social and YouTube, whatever, about some back and forth stuff and people having their opinions. There's some people who think Memphis Bleak is more talented than Jay. Think he's a better rapper. I've heard him say it. I'm not saying I agree with it.
I love Memphis, but he'll even say Jay wrote some of my rhymes.
100%. And there's people who's not. I'm sorry, not Memphis. Beanie
Siegel. Yes.
Beanie Siegel. And I'm not saying that he is either. But I guess what I am going to say is, even if you are, and even if you believe you are, to be smart enough to observe the chain of command.
Yes.
To say, yeah, I believe I'm X, Y, and Z, but this is the dude with the connect.
Yes.
This is the dude with whatever, and so let me fall back.
And because you voiced that, this is where you are.
Yes.
Because you weren't smart enough to understand that, well, I might be more talented. I can't bite the hand that feeds me.
Yes.
Every job I've ever had where I started to make more money, I remember this distinctively, where the owner said, wait a minute. How much are you writing? How much did you make? Mm-hmm. Oh, we're going to have to fix this. And then later on, I didn't have that client. I didn't have that job. I had to move on because they realized I was making more money than they potentially were making. Right. Or they didn't want me to make that much money because now I was more important and I was the face.
Right.
So again, understanding when to pivot, when to close your mouth is a trait that I think most people needed to learn. I think that before he made that move, to go back to the original story, before he made that move to even associate around Rick, you should have said, hey, question, what do you think about this?
Right.
And this is understanding, being humble enough to go, I'm not the man. This is the man that's potentially going to feed me and my family. Let me run it through him and see what he thinks. Because I'm sure 50 would have been like, dude, I don't really mess with that dude, but you got to do what you know.
I was watching Whack 100 on, what's the porn stars, Adam 22's podcast. He has some interesting people on there from time to time.
Yeah.
But he had Whack 100 on, and they were breaking it all down and talking about it. And they were getting into where Fifth is like, where he's calling Big Meech a rat. Mm-hmm. And
so he's going to put out paperwork and a movie on it.
And I was going to say, supposedly there's getting ready something to drop, and I don't know the woman's name off top, so forgive me, folks, but supposedly Big Meech signed his life rights over to this woman, and this woman is now in camp with it. So it is
this is why I said the wrong person, the king troller. Leave him, because I remember when him and Fat Joe was going at it, and he was filming Fat Joe's mother or his grandmother at work, and leave 50 alone. Let him be on your side, or just leave him alone. Because he's the wrong one, because he's going to take it too far. As we say, I'm going to take it too far. Let me be, because I'm going to take it too
100%,
far.
100%, but don't bother me. It is. So I kind of laughed about certain aspects of that interview, because what it made me think about, and I told you about this before, one of the things I love, because I'm a writer and I love casting people with filming and doing those different things. And I'm one of those, again, my spirit animal. I'm one of those people that you could piss off and you have no idea you've upset me until I want you to know you've upset me.
Unless you know his face.
What's that?
So unless you know the facial expression. Because it definitely changes.
You don't even. Well, yeah, you can upset. Well, I'm saying if you've upset me to the point where I don't want you to know, because I got something for you.
Yeah,
you don't know.
Yeah,
facial expression
until it's too late.
Then it's all about you. And I love that about myself. Yeah. I love that about Fifth. And so there's Dick Wolf. For people out there who don't know, Dick Wolf is the creator of so many different TV shows. Obviously, all of the Law and Orders.
Yes.
And so there's this story that I heard years ago about Dick. And Dick, for all of his main characters, he's written
in the scene. Yeah.
And you're out, a death.
Yes.
And you don't even know until you fuck up.
The black guy who was on Law and Order, he did something.
Well, you may have that story, but this story goes back to New York Undercover.
Yes.
Back in the 90s.
Yes. Again. And that was the show in New York. We used to run home for it. I used to see him filming it all the time.
So you had the Puerto Rican guy, I can't remember his name. I think his last name was Torres.
Yes.
And then you had, what's the brother's name? I can't think of his name.
Malik Yoba.
Yes, Malik Yoba. These two
crusty lips.
These two did not want to sign their contracts. They wanted more money, so on and so forth. Malik ended up coming around and saying, "Sure, I'll sign." The Puerto Rican guy said, "No, he ain't want to."
And you ain't seen nothing from him.
And he blew up in the car the next week.
Yeah. And you haven't seen anything but him every once in a while being a B actor. Even the lady, the female, his girlfriend. Yeah. The detective. Mm-hmm. I see her
way more.
Yes, she's been on a whole bunch of shows. And I'm like, oh, okay. She was on Dexter and a whole bunch of other stuff. But him, I haven't seen nothing from.
When I'm listening to Wack talking about Fifth in that manner, it made me think of the Dick Wolf story, which like Fifth is just sitting back with shit on everybody and just waiting for you to give a reason.
I can't meet the wrong person to come out of jail, have as an ally, and now as an enemy.
Because how you gonna make money now? Too, on top of that,
yeah. Because
you can't go back and do that.
You're gonna run around and do podcasts. That's what you're gonna have to do. But after a while, how much? Like you have to hit it while it's hot. So the 5 minutes of fame, as we like to say, 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. You better be doing a bunch of that right now, because if you wait any longer and 50 gets a chance to put out, even if it's fake.
I think Fifth already did it because that concert got squashed.
Yeah. But see, because it's not understanding that Fifth is one of those dudes who will say, if you mess with that, he learned from what Irv did to him.
And what did Wack say on that interview with, or I think it was an interview with Adam 22. I think that guy. That's his name. Yeah. He said, and if Rick Ross supposed to be that dude,
why didn't he?
How come Rick Ross ain't throw the concert?
Listen, he got beat up in Toronto, bro.
Can't keep it.
Come on, man, stop. I don't know how many stories I hear him chased in Miami and running from dudes. Again, you are that dude or you aren't that dude. I ain't never heard 50 running from nobody or nobody trying to run up on 50.
Never ever.
Come on, bro.
Never.
Stop. Even when I was working, we was like, yo, 50 of them we might have to get up out of here because they don't play well. They're going to take it to a level that however far it goes, it goes.
Which is, it's sad to say, going back to the Irv Gotti thing, it is sad that you have black and brown men who were as successful. Thank you. I don't know why I can't speak to that. As successful as they were, can't come together. And maybe part of it's because of where they came from, and that's just in them. I don't know. But for Fifth to be where he got, Juvie, and I'm sorry, not Juvie, Ja Rule and Irv.
But this is, again, other sides of the fence. Like, Queens is split into areas. So, and we serious about them territories.
Okay.
Like, we don't, like, I remember going to Philly and they was like, you from the north side, I'm from the south side. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, that's like Detroit, east side or west side.
Yes. So it's the same way where you either on this side, red or blue.
Yeah.
And until you get smart enough to figure out that we can make it together. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of folks who do it together. But if you do enough damage to make me never want to come side by side with you, because 50 talked about Ja singing. 50 was the biggest singer. He sung he did the exact same thing. He just did it.
I think Ja said something similar.
He did the same thing. I would be like, yo, the beat was harder, but he did the exact same thing Ja would do. He just took it over and made it thuggery. And I loved it for it because you couldn't be mad at it because it was bumping everywhere.
What did Josh say? He said he turned everybody against me because I'm singing. But and this Negro
is singing.
You do the same thing I was.
Yeah. So, but 50 did it with more style and more grace. And understandably, again, there's certain people that you just gotta leave alone. And I know we all think that, like, leave 50 alone. he doesn't play well with others. I don't know why folks don't know this.
The other thing too, though, with Fifth and that whole thing, when you get back to the music, Murder Inc. did what they did and it was great. We were all rocking to it. We all rock. Ashanti, the whole fam. But Irv put it best with the 50. When 50 got with Dre,
we in trouble.
Who's the exec? I'm thinking I can't remember his name. The exec who was behind it all, who partnered with Dre on beats.
I
apologize.
Yes.
I wish I should. His name is right on the tip of my. Anyway,
Jimmy
Iovine.
Yeah.
When Fifth got with that plays a large part in this too.
Yes.
You got that backing you up.
Yes.
Along with who you are naturally.
Think about Ice Cube when he left Def.
Yeah.
And got with some folks who wasn't afraid of death row.
Yeah.
Cute, like again, you say what you want to. One of the top 10 if you really want to give like understand like records and what they changed and what they created, how he parlayed that into everything else.
That Death Certificate CD by itself was.
Listen, he just the No Vaseline alone,
right.
like alone. You're like, ooh.
I love the K-Dot shit with Not Like Us.
But no, it wasn't.
But No Vaseline still,
bruh.
and maybe it's because it's I'm from another generation possibly.
But
don't get me wrong, I bopped to Not Like Us, but that No Vaseline hit hard.
It was like ooh, it was like Ether, like ooh.
Ether.
There's like a couple of them that you're like ooh. Even to this day, you hear it and you're like, oh yeah, that wasn't ooh, nothing to play with.
Nothing at all. So yeah, Fifth is my spirit animal, man. The way he gets down, it's the way I get down. Minus, I haven't had anybody pass away who I really dislike yet, so I can't say how I'm gonna react to that when that happens. But I can see his side from when it comes to
I think I'm grown enough now that I don't relish because I again at 58 I know it's coming sooner rather than later for me, so I'm not jumping on the woohoo. But again, at a point in time in my life, I was.
Well, I think that's another part of where we talk about people who are successful, rich, and as they get older, get closer to seeing God, they start to see stuff differently. You and I joked about it before in the podcast with the Bill Gates of the world and those people. Like, all right, now all of a sudden you want to be nice.
You want to start giving money away,
and care about the poor, and all that kind of stuff. I think you're probably right. You get to a certain point where you're over that hill.
Yes.
And you get to see what's on the other side. You're like, let me unload some of this.
Fifth ain't too much younger.
I've been carrying.
He's younger, but not too much younger.
Yeah, but he may be younger in other ways.
Yeah, I'm not mad at him
or
for.
He may carry hate differently.
Yeah, yes, and I'm not mad at him for it. Again, I understand it. I just know that karma, whatever you want to call it, comes home for everybody, and I don't, because he does a lot of good that folks don't know. Like he does a lot of good. That if you didn't know, you'd be like, "What? He really did that? And he did this?"
Yeah.
But he just
highlighted.
Yeah, it doesn't get. He doesn't because he ain't looking for it.
Right.
I want y'all to hate me. He relishes in that hate.
He trolls like nobody.
And that's what I'm saying. Of all of the people you troll with, don't troll with 50 because he plays it to a different level that anybody. Like he's hiring private detectives to follow people. Like he's just gonna do it.
The thing that I love about 50, the trolling, is that I know he has other things he should be doing.
Yes.
But somehow he's got that phone in his hand.
Yeah, he's like, ooh,
scrolling.
They said something,
whatever. Next topic, we're going to skip one, and we're going to do this next one so we can get out of it. It'll be our last one, but I want to touch on it. Anthony Edwards, basketball player. If you are a fan of the NBA or just happen to have caught a glimpse of a highlight, Ant-Man is that dude.
Yeah.
Talent wise, jump out the gym, shoot that J. He's just an outstanding player,
and he's gotten better every year. And so he loves the game, and
and I was sure he'd be the next dude for the league. He came out recently, said he didn't want any parts of it. Maybe what we're getting ready to talk about is the reason why. So Anthony Edwards is on his fourth child, if what we found in our research to be accurate. And this fourth one was given birth by Aisha Howard, who is also the mother of two other children. One of them being Little Baby's child. I don't know who the third one is. The 9-year-old is Little Baby's child. I did see that. And she's 38, and Edward's 23 years old. And the text messages that she released show that she told him that she was pregnant, and he said something about having an abortion. And then the conversation went back and forth to where he finally told her, I told you I did not want to have this baby. Where are you at on it? I know where I sit, and I'm gonna get there, but I want to see where you're at first on this whole interaction and this situation between.
I like Ant-Man, and I thought he truly, and he still has the potential. I think he will, if he can turn the boat, be the face of the NBA, because his personality, his game, and not understanding their endorsements, the money you're leaving on the table, so that you could be the next Shaq. As opposed to just getting a $150 million contract and thinking that's great when you could get $250 on the side for doing a commercial. But at 23, I think, what are you trying to catch? Who's the Duncan dude? They used to play with Seattle Supersonics.
Oh, you talking about Sean Kemp?
Sean Kemp and the rest of these cats. You need to maybe have a conversation with them. Because I'm thinking like 10 kids. Another dude had like 13 kids.
Yeah.
It eventually catches up. You're throwing money out the window. I understand you have a type. I see it. I'm not mad at the type. I'm not mad at the type.
100%. They did some deep dive research into the baby mothers of
it's a type, and I'm not mad at you. The type is the type.
Thickums.
But
light skin, long hair.
But they make surgeries. They make these little plastic things, these little rubber things you can put on.
Yes.
You have to know that you're a target, and you haven't realized 3 babies in that you're a target. I don't know what it's going to take. Maybe it's going to take this one hitting your pocket a little harder than you thought it was going to be, because as we talked about the callousness that you have
Very callous.
You might catch the wrong judge who says, oh, okay, you don't care? Then I don't care about taking, because I talk about Puffy all the time, and I use this as an example. Accustomed to a certain lifestyle. And when you live a certain lifestyle, that baby lives with the mother the same lifestyle that you live.
Yes.
So the baby might be giving her $5,000 a month, but you making $50,000 a month.
Yeah, that's Jimmy Butler.
It changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, another example of folks, you don't understand that the contract that you get, people are paying attention to it. And they don't have to know that you got 150 and you only actually looking at 60 million instead of 150. They just heard 150, so they want some of that. She already has a baby with somebody else. I don't understand why in the NBA, especially the NBA, they keep picking and like, oh, this one had her. Now I'll have her. And then the nastiest, grimiest thing in the world to me. I don't want somebody where I have to look at somebody in their face and know you had a baby, you did fellatio, you did all these other things with this next dude who has to look in my face. I don't want to know. Find a wholesome little. There's a girl in Queens, as you say all the time. There's a girl in the supermarket right now that look just like that.
Yeah.
They don't want all of that.
Yeah. So listening to everyone's other, you and I talk about, we listen to other folks' podcasts because we're a fan of podcasts, and obviously everyone's talking about everything. So it's hard to find some people are not. And a lot of people concentrated on a lot of aspects of this. One of the things that you and I agreed on was that he's 23, she's 38. Had the roles been reversed,
oh yeah,
people would have been all over the man being 38 and her being 23.
They would have been calling the what do they call it?
Grooming or
whatever you want to call it.
Which I agree that people would have been. I think a lot of times we talk about things, had the roles been reversed, it'd be a completely different conversation. But what I do want to ask you and ask you guys to put in the comments, what is wrong with Anthony Edwards?
He's young.
It's something else.
Yes.
That you are 23 years old and you have 4 different children. According to a podcast I listened to when you and I were talking about it, one of the baby mothers, she says, I'm fine with it.
Because I think he has 3. He had 2 while she was pregnant, or the one he lives with, that lives with him, and says it's okay.
Do whatever you're going to do.
Yeah.
And I don't care, because I know he's coming here and I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
But to be 23 years old, to be out here doing the things he's doing unprotected.
Yeah.
With all of the with all of the world in front of you.
There's too much information out there for you not to understand.
But why choose this though? You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
There's something broken inside.
And that's what I'm wondering.
Yes, there's something broken inside.
You have the whole world in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
You're a good looking kid. You're a talented kid. The NBA fans, the
wanted
league,
to push you to it, and you say, I don't want it. So there's something internally that says, oh, well, why don't you want to be the face of the NBA? Because your imperfections that you know, that you hide.
I thought he said he didn't want anything to do with that part of it because he knows what comes with it.
Again, and you knowing that I'd have to live like LeBron. And we all know that LeBron is not perfect, but he just, again, Mike wasn't perfect. You know.
I say all the time with these guys, everyone and their mother has talked about it a million times about Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
And when you talk about Jeter,
never heard that.
New York Yankees,
yes, in New York,
shortstop,
yes,
good-looking guy, the captain. Everyone, every time you turn around, he was in a magazine or a newspaper with a different woman that he was dating, and some of the best of the best. Mm-hmm. And that's only who we know.
Yes.
Then you hear the stories, which I'm not breaking any news, that when you went to Jeter's house, you had to turn everything over, and phones, everything.
Sign all types of stuff, NDAs,
and when you left with a goodie bag.
Again, Tyson makes me think of that.
Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
When he finally got jammed up, because the understanding is that he just walked to the door and didn't even walk into the car. The one he got convicted of.
That's what she was upset about? Is that what you're saying? That's what you heard?
My understanding is that, again, she came to the, I hate to say it. She came to the room at 2:00 in the morning.
She did.
And acted like I didn't know what was going to happen. I call it naiveness. I just call it BS, whatever you want to call it.
BS.
So at the end, when it was over, he didn't understand whatever happened. Yeah. You still have to act like
100%.
And he didn't act like that, and now he had to spend time in jail, and he's always going to be a convicted rape. I'm sorry, convicted.
Yeah, we'll get that bleeped out of there.
Sorry.
No, you could. So you want to see where it's at?
And just understanding, again, for Anthony Edwards, please, bruh, just get a vasectomy. If you don't want to, do it the proper way. Mm-hmm. Do something that doesn't whittle away your money, and you have a bunch of kids out there out of wedlock, without a father, without you being present. I don't know your upbringing.
Yeah.
Maybe this is why, you didn't have one. So I only hear about your mother. I don't really hear about your father. So I might be naive to the whole picture. But you're building up kids that don't have, and you're paying for somebody else's lifestyle. It
is. If you knew you didn't want to have a child, then protect.
Yes.
And if you are out here, I don't care, black, white, again, Hispanic, I don't care, Asian. If you are a rich man, there's a good chance that there's some woman out there trying to have your baby.
And she's already shown it. Like this, again, this person has already done it before.
Yeah.
Why? I'm sorry, Drea, but you're another one who had multiple babies with different folks. So for me, it makes me think that I hate to go back to a project mom, but in the project, you would have a kid, and when he got 15, you would have another kid. So that you could stay in the projects till you got to the age where you were able to live in the projects. Yeah. And, you'd have one kid and then a toddler.
There was a ton of people who were doing it, I remember.
In order to stay in the system. And I don't understand the Kim Kardashian where she has 15 NBA players. Like, why? I get that she's famous, but she's been run through by so many people. Why might as well get a porn star. What's the difference?
You and I are the same in that, where I did not want to, and we're adults here, but my entire life I did not want to have a woman who had just been ran through by, especially anybody I knew. I did not want to walk around with someone that someone in the neighborhood or someone's in the neighborhood had already had before I got
You know how many people I've looked in the face and just smiled at, because and I know that, I ran all up in that. Yeah. And now you're sitting here, Nah, bro.
But is that part of it? But it's the other part.
Just
is you. I don't. Again, I don't get it. But again, I really would love to understand him better. To have 4 children, and you just out here floating. Someone said something to. I think it was. I'm gonna screw her name. Miss Van Zandt said to Nick Cannon. Something along the lines of, how are you being a father to all of these children? Mm-hmm. How do you think you could possibly...
Was it Ayama Manzat or was it the other doctor?
No, you got it.
The doctor?
No.
Okay, this was a second interview?
Yeah. How do you think you could be a father to all these, and I get Nick's thought process, which is, I'm not just off and gone. Yeah. But you have 9 different kids. How can you be? Well, they're here, and here.
He doesn't want to be the father. Anna's saying, I don't want to be the father. I didn't want that. But it still doesn't change the fact that you have a child now that you're going to have to support.
Well, that's the part where I think something's broken. How do you produce something you don't want to be in its life?
Again, there's plenty of people out there doing it all the time.
And I want to know how.
And there's a brokenness in them. Yes. Again, and I don't think, because he's young and the money's not really affecting him that much right now. Mm-hmm. But if you look at these old dudes who have multiple babies and then retire, mm-hmm. and now
100%
that $50 million that was coming in a year mm-hmm. is now $5 million. Mm-hmm. They have to go back to court and can't pay the child support and can't do this, or now folks are telling you broke. Like, learn from previous examples.
And you know what? With the way they're paying this money out, they talk about one of the reasons Dallas traded Luka was because they didn't want to have to pay Luka $350 million over 5 years, which I think that equates to be $70 million, something along those lines. Mm-hmm. So Ant-Man's going to make a ton of money. Mm-hmm. He's young. The number keeps going up. They just signed, I want to say, $11 billion TV deal the NBA did, which is good for 10 years, I believe. Yeah. So he's going to make a ton of money. So the money may never affect him. But
not now. Eventually you retire. What happens if you get hurt?
It could. But I think the more immediate concern for me is, what is this child supposed to think as he or she, or I think it's a she, grows up and finds
that you didn't want her.
You didn't want her, and it's in print.
Yes, and you did everything to try and not let her be here, and not wanting to be part of her lifestyle, and eventually, she's going to get older, and maybe you kind of amend that, but it's always going to be in the back of her brain.
Maybe you amend it, but how do you? It's in print.
You just work to being better. As a father, I can say, I learned through each of my children how to do things, and some I did good, some I did bad, and at some point we're better in stuff, and some parts we're not as good as we need to be.
I'm gonna speak from my own experience and the experience of siblings of mine. You never get over feeling like he didn't want me.
Yeah,
especially girls and fathers.
Yes, super important. And this is why you have, again, most women have baby daddy issues. I talk to numerous women, and I can see it a mile away. You got baby daddy issues, or you got father issues, rather.
It's one thing to fight to be in and not be allowed, or it's another thing
to not be wanted.
But to not be wanted,
yeah, it was a mistake.
And so I just. As much weight as we can put on her, because she's 38 and she definitely knows better. But I don't want it to get lost. Something, he needs to be on a couch.
Yes, but you have to be willing to realize that there's something off with you or wrong with you. Again, to have, and I think all of his baby mamas are in, like, the babies are in a 2-year period of each other. Mm-hmm. So they're all really young. Mm-hmm. And again, right now, you're at the peak, or potentially the peak of your existence, but at some point in time, Father Time is undefeated. And when that comes, Carmelone is a perfect example. He's
got it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And some he has a relationship with and was able to fix. Some he's not able to fix. Understanding that, I don't care, Sean Kemp, and there's a dude who has more than Sean Kemp. You can't have this many children and it not affect you later on.
Yeah.
It is because you're never going to make enough to take care of, multiple children when the money stops coming in.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't understand, let me do some smart things and let me be I understand right now you don't want to be the face, but shut up and don't say you don't want to be the face. Just shut up. Just play the game and get what you can get from it. And you don't have to say, I don't want to be the face. Just don't step up in the light. They're gonna use you no matter what. Because the NBA is gonna use him.
Using to put him on games, but as far as being the face, I don't see.
Him and Ja got the taint on it.
Yeah, I think they've moved past that. I don't think they want anything to do with that.
They didn't move a boy to LA for no reason.
The only person that they can look past all these type of flaws is the dude that they put in the White House right now. Anybody else, you got flaws like this, especially if you got this skin color.
Yes. That's why I said Luka. Luka.
They want to give it to Luka.
They brought him into the right spot with the right person to potentially make you the face of the NBA for the next decade.
If they could have another Larry Bird.
Yes.
Oh man, yes. That was.
Yeah, and he's charismatic enough, and you know that he could market himself and make that money. So again, they'd rather have him than us all day long.
I tell you what, if he goes to LA and wins a title, Nico better hope his key card to Nike works so he can go get that job back, because they're going to fire him up out of Dallas quick, fast, in a hurry. The MAGA folks have already come out, with picket signs the first week or so.
I feel bad for Anthony. What's his name? Center. Forward, whatever he wants to be called. Yeah. Plastic Man.
Yeah, I get it. No. Plastic Man.
The way he breaks all the time. Oh, that's why I call him Plastic Man.
What did Charles Barkley used to call Vince Carter? Because his nickname was Half Man, Half Amazing, and I thought Charles nicknamed him Half Man, Half a Season, or something like that, or maybe he nicknamed Anthony that Half Man. I'm about to look that up. If you guys know, put it in the comments. Well, this has been another episode of this week's Drop.
Yes.
Don't forget, go out, get your tickets. I will be headlining if you're in the Phoenix market. Go get your tickets. Desert Ridge Improv, April 27th. I'm coming in with some of my funny friends, and I'm going to be working out material for my 2 comedy specials that I'll be shooting in November. Those tickets will be dropping in June. So
beautiful.
I got a photo shoot lined up and everything for that. So go ahead and you can get those tickets and keep up with everything by going to SidneySmithCreative.com and grab all that. Check out my comedy special, Misunderstood, and sign up over here.
DavisMark.com.
Yes.
DavisMark AZ 2020 Gmail. Hit me up. Put on a class for you. Private lessons. Women's empowerment. Come on out.
I don't like the private lessons part. That didn't sound right. All right, guys. Everybody have yourself a good week. We will be back. We'll see you then.